Come here. Just come here. Just say hello. Hi, and welcome to Made with Carlenergy. This is episode 3. I'm Carlene, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Carlenergy, and you can find show notes for all the episodes of the podcast at carlenergy.blogspot.com. And I did make a Ravelry group this past week, so you can find that by searching Made with Carlenergy on the Groups tab. And obviously I have a little co-host this time. He was chattering away in his cage and distracting me from recording, so I figured it was time to make the introduction. So this is the dude. He is my parakeet, who you've probably heard if you are a returning viewer. You've probably heard him chatting in the background. So, and he's a complete goofball, right? So yes, welcome back if you are returning, and welcome if you are a new viewer. Thank you so much for joining me to see what I've been working on this week. I've had a lot of people subscribing and messaging me on Ravelry and Instagram, and it's been so nice to talk to you all and get to see your own projects, and yes, just really great to be in touch with everybody. This week I started a couple new projects as well as working on my previous works in progress. I do have a half-finished object, and I have a possible knit-along idea that I'd like to get your feedback on, and yeah, I guess just a general update about what I've been up to. I've been drinking some Scarlet Citrus Rooibos tea by Tazo, and this is the first time that I've tried this flavor. I just bought it tonight, and it's very nice. It has that classic vanilla flavor of a Rooibos tea, but it has this nice citrus tone to it as well. So this week was my first week back at work after a 2-week vacation. So I kind of had figured that I would be pretty stressed out just from being back at work, and then it just ended up being a very busy week at work in general. But also felt good to be back and be productive. I don't think I've mentioned on any of my episodes before, but I am a studio manager for an art dealer, so I do a lot of framing of all kinds of different artwork, and I do all the administrative computer stuff. So we have a lot of art databases online, and yeah, it's a nice hands-on, interesting job. And now I have a 3-day weekend since it's Labor Day tomorrow. So today is Sunday, tomorrow's Monday, but I have off of work for Labor Day. So that's nice to have an extra day to get some things done. Yesterday was I completely tore apart my apartment to reorganize, and so I took a whole bunch of boxes out of my closet, which were full of yarn and art supplies and just random things. I moved into this apartment about 8 months ago and just kind of threw all of that into the closet and then forgot about it for a while, and I've really been meaning to reorganize, so that felt really good to finally do that, and it's very refreshing. And then today I took a walk with a friend to this place called Stone Church, which is very close to my apartment, and it's actually off of the main road here. It doesn't seem like there could be anything cool and any kind of natural area off this road, but you walk for about 10 minutes and you approach this beautiful stream, and then there's this natural cave formed by these 2 rock walls, and it's this very peaceful cavern. And so the sound of the water is really beautiful, running over all the rocks, and the air is just really nice down there. It's nice and just clear and refreshing and earthy. And so it was a beautiful day to take a walk down there. So I was really happy that we did that. This is very distracting. I don't know if it's distracting for you, but it's very distracting for me. But I'm just going to go with it because he's having a good time. So, I will show off some knitting, starting with my half-finished object. This is my Croy socks that I've been working on. Finished the first one. This is the gray-brown Marl colorway in Patton's Croy socks. It's a 75% washable wool and 25% nylon blend. And I love this yarn. I've said that before in my previous episodes. And this is a plain vanilla sock on US size 1.5. And it's basically the Volan Vine favorite socks pattern. If you search Volan Vine favorite socks, and the only difference is that I do an Eye of Partridge heel versus the normal slip stitch heel. So this is for a US size 10.5 guy's foot, and they're either going to my uncle or my dad or my brother. Not sure who yet, but they are going to be a Christmas gift. And then I started the second one, and I'm making them match. And this is mostly out of laziness because I want to be able to know exactly where I should start the heel and the toe. So that's one of the great perks about self-striping yarns is you can kind of be lazy about your measuring. So I found the spot in the yarn where it would start so that it would match up, and they are matching quite nicely so far. Hopefully there's not too much variation in the width of the stripes. I don't suspect that there will be, but yeah, so I'm still enjoying those, and they seem to be going pretty smoothly and quickly. And there he goes back to his home. I did get a little progress on my Bellows cardigan. So I think in my last episode I had showed that I did finish the 2 sleeves, and I had finished the left front, and now I have finished the right front. And these strange little tabs on either side of the front are for side seam pockets that I'm attempting to add, which I'm thinking that it'll work out pretty well. And so that's what those are. The pattern doesn't have pockets written into it, but I really wanted to add them because I knew that if I didn't have pockets, I would be trying to put my hands in the pockets anyway. So yeah, I'm really psyched to have this much progress done on it. I do have to knit the back, but I'm waiting on a needle cord that I ordered. I ordered a longer cord for my chow glue needles, and that hasn't come in yet, so I've just been working on other things instead. And this is in Brooklyn, 2 strands of Brooklyn tweed shelter held together. So that's a beautiful 100% woolen spun yarn. I'm sure you've probably heard of Brooklyn tweed before. So this is the blanket fort colorway and the postcard colorway held together for a marled effect. So yeah, very good progress on that. This is going to be my Rhinebeck sweater, and yeah, I'm so happy about it. Not so happy about having to seam because I have a lot of things to seam. I have this stack of things that I haven't seamed together yet, including my Azalea tank top, which I didn't even mention in my last episode. I had showed it in my first, but then didn't even mention it last week because I hadn't done anything with it. I haven't seamed it together yet, but it is blocking. It is out lying drying on the blocking mat, and so I'm going to try to get that seamed up tomorrow. And so the Azalea tank is by Pam Allen, and it was part of Quince & Co.'s, one of their recent pattern collections. And so it's just a front and back, and then you have to seam it and then pick up along the neckline to make the straps. So yeah, I'm going to attempt to at least seam it tomorrow, and then maybe, you know, if progress is going smoothly, I will try to start knitting the straps. I really want to get that done soon because I'd like to wear it while it is still pretty warm outside. And then I have this idea, I don't know if this is going to be overkill, but so I'll have my Rhinebeck cardigan, and then I'm thinking that I want to wear the Azalea tank top under a flannel shirt, and then so I'll have that as like if it's pretty warm out during Rhinebeck, I can have, you know, a nice wool cotton blend tank top, so a nice like kind of warm underlayer, and then a flannel, and then if it is pretty chilly, I'll have my cardigan. So I don't know if, you know, tank top and then cardigan and then probably a hat that I'll have, and, you know, probably some type of scarf or shawl, you know, it is, and knitted socks, obviously. I mean, where else are you going to just go crazy on the knitwear than Rhinebeck? So I think it'll be kind of nice. I think the tank top, since it is a much finer yarn, it's at a much different gauge than the sweater. I don't think it'll be too much of an overkill to have it layered under the cardigan. So that's the plan. I'd really like to wear that at Rhinebeck along with my Rhinebeck sweater. So next on the needles, this is, Jude's going a little crazy. So this is back on the needles because this is my Fringe with Benefits shawl by Mindy Ross, and this is in my hand spun, and I've been spinning more yarn for it because I spun one loop bump and ran out of yarn, so now I'm spinning another loop bump. And I in my last episode I had shown the spindle with about 1.5 ounces of fiber on it, and that's usually when I like to wind off and skein it up and wash it, is when it's about 1.5 ounces on the spindle. I think I could probably keep spinning at that point, but it does get pretty full, and then the spindle is heavier, and I just want to make sure that the yarn is pretty consistent, so that's usually the point at which I decide to wind off, at least for that spindle. So I caked it up, washed it and caked it up, and I started adding it to my scarf last night. And I got further than this, but then I realized I had some mistakes, so I ripped it back, and now, so this darker olive green color is where the new yarn starts. And I like this color a lot because the beads are showing up really nicely on that color. So it is beaded, hand spun and beaded, and yeah, this has been really fun to work on. And as I've mentioned, so this is a loop bump, but I've been pulling in little bits of fiber from other, some fondant fiber fuzzlings that I have, and just other little bits and pieces that have been left over from other spinning projects. And so that's all the, hopefully you can kind of see there's some hints of pinks and reds in there. And I'm doing that with this loop bump because the first loop bump did have some recycled sari silk in it, so you can see that it has some tweedy flecks. And yeah, I was anxious to see what it would look like when I started knitting it up, to see if it did have the same effect. And yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I think it is working out how I was hoping. So I'm really happy to have this back on the needles. It's so soft and just really nice to work on. And the fringe is really fun. It's a knitted fringe, and each fringe has a bead on the end. And the beads I'm using are size 6 seed beads, and these are from, I think I ordered them from a website called Fusion Beads. I'll try to get a link to that in the show notes. But they're called Picasso turquoise, so they're turquoise with some brown flecks. And I'm using a 0.75 millimeter crochet hook to get them onto the stitches, and keeping them in this really cute little box. And I like that this box kind of coordinates with the project bag that I've been keeping this in. So this is a cool clear bottom project bag from a maker known as Fibers Entwined. and I got this at my local yarn shop, Black Sheep Yarns in Connecticut. That's the only place that I've seen these. She does have a website, but I don't think you can order directly. But she does have her email address is fibersentwined.yahoo or at yahoo.com, and I'll put a link to her in the show notes. But I really like this bag because it's nice to be able to see that when I'm running out of the house, if I want to take this with me or whatever, I can see that everything that I need is in the bag without having to dig through it. And I am spinning more of the second loop bump for this project, and so I've been working on that a little bit, and yeah, I'm just going to keep spinning on this, and yeah, I guess add the yarn in onto the scarf as I go along. And there are two different versions of this pattern. There's a shorter and a longer version, and since I'm needing to be spinning more yarn for it anyway, I'm just going to spin as much as I need of this to make the longer version of the scarf. Here he comes. Incoming! So, yeah. Loop bumps. Just awesome. And so I'm spinning that at about a sport to fingering weight. And I'm using the ply on the fly technique, which I really like, because then once the yarn is off the spindle, all you gotta do is wash it. You don't have to ply it because it's already plied. So yeah, it is a little slower going. It feels slower sometimes, but yeah, I really like that technique, especially for loop bumps, since I do like to chain ply them to keep the color striping. Next work in progress is I guess, well, I did add one more square to my sock yarn blanket, which is from the pair of Wolfman blitzed socks that I finished and showed in my first episode. So it's in the Neptunia colorway by Wolfman Yarns in, yes, blitzed. So there's stellina, and so glad to have that one in there. Definitely the first square that I have in here that has stellina in it, so that's fun. And then I started knitting a square, barely got very far with it, but that's with the leftover Koi socks from the first sock that I just finished this week. So, and obviously I didn't really work on my ends at all, and still, that's horrible, but it'll happen eventually. And then for new projects that I cast on this week, and I think I cast this on pretty much right after I finished recording last week. This is the Whitecaps cowl by, it's a free pattern on the pearlbee.com from a few months ago, and this is all tangled, but hopefully I can show it anyway. So I'm using the two yarns called for, which is a Habu Textiles. This is their Naramaki slub, so it's 100% cotton, thick and thin. And actually, I didn't realize this until I started knitting with it, but the thinner parts are super thin. And this is kind of the colorway is called khaki, but it's this interesting, not quite chartreuse. I don't really know how to describe this green, but I really like it. And then this is Alchemy Yarns Silk and Straw in the platinum colorway, so a nice pearly, shiny silk. And it's a raw silk, so it's crunchy, but it'll soften up after I wash it. And this is just a very simple striped stockinette cowl in the round. And I'm really glad to have this on the needles because it has been a project where if I just want to relax and not think at all, it's a nice simple stockinette project, but it does have, you know, some interest to it since it's all these funky textures. So yeah, I've been enjoying that, and I don't really have a specific deadline for this or anything. I'm just working on it when I want to, and it would be nice to have for Rhinebeck as well, so I can layer up with this thing. yeah, it's and these are size 4 Chaogu needles, and I'm pretty sure that's the size called for in the pattern. I didn't do a gauge swatch on this because I wasn't really concerned about it being exactly on point, since it's just a cowl. It can be bigger or smaller than called for. A little sip of tea here. Oh, I totally forgot about another. I guess I can consider this a finished object. So I had talked about taking a natural dyeing workshop last week, and I have the results. So I took this workshop with my friends in Wassaic, New York. They started a garden this summer called the Natural Abundance Garden. So they're growing marigolds and black beans and amaranth and snapdragons and chamomile and just all different kinds of flowers and plants that and kale and cabbages. So just a bunch of different plants that are known to have natural dyes, and then they're also during the workshop they had some things that were mysteries, and so we were kind of experimenting to see if they would produce any dyes. And so we got to go around the garden and pick out what we wanted, and then we did bundle dyeing. So we had these silk hankies that they had already prepared with the mordant, which was alum, I believe they were using, and so the girls had already prepared these. They had soaked the hankies in the alum for, I think they said, around 5 days. I did miss the beginning of the workshop because I was at work, but yeah, so we got to pick out our flowers and roll them up into the hankies, and then we rubber banded them as a little bundle, and then put them in some steaming hot water for about half an hour. And here is the result. So we got a lot of good purples and yellows and kind of yellow-green colors. And the amaranth was, there were a lot of pinks in a lot of the people, in a lot of our hankies from the amaranth, but then once we rinsed them in the cooler water, that color kind of faded out really quickly. So we weren't quite sure why. It might have been something to do with the mordant, and maybe it just wasn't the right mordant. I don't know. This is the first time I've had any experience trying to do natural dyes, so that was something that I kind of thought maybe had been the issue, but I'm not really sure. Maybe it's just not a very sustainable dye, but I think we're definitely going to be experimenting with that more. So yeah, mostly purples and yellows. The yellow, all the really intensely dyed spots are from the marigolds, which I thought was, I don't know if I knew that marigolds could be used for dyes, and yeah, they were the most intense. And then this is from the purple cabbage, I believe. So this is the first one that I put in a pot, and then I decided to do another one. And this one came out a little bit more muted. So I really liked them. It was really fun and a nice way to spend an evening outside, and they had a pretty good turnout. I think about 15 to 20 people showed up for the workshop, so that was really nice. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing some more experiments with them. And okay, so on to the other project that I started this week, which is another pair of socks with Patton's Croy socks. And I haven't posted in Ravelry yet, but I am going to enter these into Mina's Sept cow. So the knitting expat, Mina, is hosting a knit along, and it's for September, and it's anything that starts with the letter S. So you can do scarf, socks, sweater. So I might enter my Bellows cardigan as well, since that is a sweater, and you can enter previously started works in progress, which I think is really nice. Because sometimes I really want to enter knit-alongs, but I already have so many things on the needles that I don't want to start more things, so it's really nice to be able to just throw a work in progress in there with the mix. But I did want to start a new pair of socks for it anyway, and these are a little different than the couple of pairs that I've been doing lately. I'm doing a twisted rib, 1x1 twisted rib, rather than a 2x2 normal rib. Dude, be nice. And I'm knitting these on size zeros because I wanted to see what kind of fabric I would get with the zeros and see if I like it better than the 1.5s that I usually use. I was going to try ones, but I couldn't find a pair. And of course, I've found the set of my ones since then. But I'm doing them on zeros. These are going to be for me. So I did 64 stitches, and I think they're going to be nice. I think they're going to be a little bit tighter than the pairs that I've made recently, and I'm happy about that because I'm finding that with the 1.5s and the 64 stitches, the socks are a little slouchy. So I think this might be a better fit for me. And I mean, of course, I think with the 1.5s I could go down to 56 stitches and get kind of the same effect, but I do like how dense the fabric is with this. And so I'm doing stripes with these two colorways. I'm doing alternating 2 rows each of each color because I got these on clearance and they only had one more ball of this. This is the spring leaf colorway, and this is the bramble stripes colorway. And so I got 3 balls of this and 1 ball of this, so I have to stripe, or I don't have to, but I want to. I want to stripe these two together, and I'm liking the effect so far. Very funky stripes. So yeah, I'm hoping to get these done by the end of September for the cow, but we'll see. I don't know. If they end up falling behind, I'm not too worried about it. And there is another project that I'm kind of thinking about starting, which is a featherweight cardigan. And because Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast is hosting a featherweight knit along from September until December, I think. It's going from the first day of fall until the first day of winter, and it's a preparation for winter cow. So I have this lace weight yarn. This is Western Sky Knits merino lace, and I believe this is the Quarry colorway. So it's nice greens and browns, or blues and browns. And I started I have to look at the pattern because I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this. Where'd my pattern go? I have totally lost it. Anyway, I think it's called Tripartite by Stephen West, and it's this interesting vest, or kind of it's a vest. I totally had the pattern here, but it has flown away. And I was kind of enjoying working on this, but I think I'll like it better in a solid color. So I like how it pooled in the beginning here, but then it stopped pooling once I started the increases. So I don't really mind the mix of, the different color variation, but I think I would like this as the vest in a more solid color. So and then I think I would like this in a featherweight cardigan. I just think I would wear it more. So it's definitely going to get frogged no matter what, and if I find myself with the time to put another project on the needles, I think it'll eventually be a featherweight. And I'm not going to start it now, I'm not going to start it immediately, but I think, I might have the time to get it on the needles by, by November, and then I would have some time to finish it before the end of the knit along. So I think that's going to be the plan. And I think I have enough. This is 875 yards. I'm a little confused about the yardage requirements for the featherweight, since I think it calls for lace weight, but then a lot of people have done it in fingering weight, so I have to just double check on the size that I want to make and make sure I have enough, but I'm pretty sure I do have enough, and if anything, I'll just have to do 3/4 sleeves instead of full sleeves, which would be fine. So that's an eventual plan. And I did want to propose an idea for my own knit-along, and I could really use your feedback. So I'm thinking I want to do a local love knit-along. So that would be if you have a local sheep farm um, or a local mill that produces yarn, or I'm thinking that maybe not everybody will have access to that kind of place. So it could be as simple as yarn that you bought at your local yarn shop. So yeah, I want to do things. I want to see. I think it would be really fun to see uh, different projects made from a lot of different places, and with local things that you got locally, and just see the different. You know, I mean, obviously local yarn can be really beautiful. So I'm thinking I want to do that. I don't know when I would want to start that. But yeah, I'd like your ideas on that. If you think that would work, if you think it would be too difficult for some people since they wouldn't really have access to local yarns. But yeah, I'd really like to see the different local yarns all around the country and all over the world. So that's my idea, local love cow. So uh, I'm going to make a episode thread for this episode in the Ravelry group. So I'll post a thread for this episode, and you can leave me some feedback there about what you think of a local love knit along. Speaking of local love, there's supposed to be, I'm pretty sure at some point during September, a Hudson Valley yarn crawl, and there was one last spring which I participated in. So there's a bunch of local farms near me, and some yarn shops that participate in this yarn crawl. And so I visited a few farms, and it was really nice. There were a lot of cute little lambs, so I got to pet a lot of fresh baby sheep, and they were so cute and soft and lovely, and just some really beautiful yarns, and uh, of course door prizes and sales and things like that. All the good things that come with the yarn crawl. And I'm pretty sure there's another one at some point this month, which I'm excited about. I don't know what the dates are yet, but I have to check in with Nancy, who owns Black Sheep Yarns in Connecticut, which is my local yarn shop. So she's a participant, and I should be able to find out when it is from her. So I'm excited about that. And if the local love cow idea does kind of pan out, then I might pick up something from that to work on. Although I do have some local yarns already that I could totally just work with instead, but we'll see. As far as stashing goes this week, I haven't gotten my bag from the Fawn Knits yet. I did order a project bag last week, and that's still on its way from Alberta, Canada. So I'm excited to get that, hopefully sometime this coming week. And then Kristen of Wolfman Yarns had her update this past Friday, and she had some new colorways. And one of them is called the Gashly Crumb, which is based on Edward Gorey illustrations. It's his alphabet book, and I'm not too familiar with Edward Gorey, but I am very intrigued because of Kristen. She's been talking about him a lot, and I've definitely seen his illustrations before, but not really known, that it was Edward Gorey, and known that he had such a big body of work and everything. And it's definitely kind of, I'm on the brink of a new obsession with that. I think he's a really interesting person, and has a really interesting illustration style, and kind of gothic and morbid the way he wrote children's stories. So the Gashly Crumb is his alphabet book, and Kristen made this new colorway inspired by that book, and it's just gorgeous. It's dark browns and jewel tones, blues and mauves, and just so yeah, I ordered some on her Wolk base. I think it's pronounced Wolk, and that's her merino cashmere nylon base, and so I'm very excited about that. I wasn't supposed to buy any more yarn, Kristen, not until Rhinebeck. Rhinebeck is coming, but you got me. You got me with the Gashly Crumb, so that should be on its way in the mail pretty soon. But that's it. Seriously, guys. No more yarn until Rhinebeck, because I want to be able to go crazy at Rhinebeck and not feel all that guilty about it. I want the normal level of guilt at Rhinebeck. I don't want, oh, but I have been buying yarn all along guilt. I want, like, yeah. Anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited to see this new colorway in person. It's really beautiful. So it's okay, Kristen. I forgive you. And I also want to say hi, Nessa from Kill to Craft. Thank you so much for mentioning me on your episode this week. I watched it this morning while I was working on my Fringe with Benefits shawl, and that was really, you're so, if you haven't seen Kill to Craft podcast yet, please go and watch. I mean, Vanessa is awesome, and her projects are absolutely beautiful, and she's just so nice to spend some time knitting with, and yeah. And the dude agrees. The dude says hi, Nessa. So, thank you, Nessa, for mentioning me. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but that's okay. If I am, I'll just try to go over it in the next episode. But yes, please stop by the Ravelry group and let me know what you think of the local love knit along idea. And thank you so much for subscribing if you have subscribed. And if you want to keep up with me, please do subscribe. And yeah. Just been, I've already been looking forward to this. You know, this is only my 3rd episode, but you know, I've found myself looking forward to recording every week and being able to talk with all of you and see what all of you are working on. So thank you so much, and I hope you have, if you do have a 3-day weekend, I hope it is relaxing and also productive with your knitting, and I hope you enjoy the next week. And yeah, thanks for dealing with this little distractor, right? Yeah. Have a good week, guys. I will see you soon. Bye.